All right. Cool. Yes, we have done the master slave setup. Correct. So this topology we have done. We need to discuss about how to build a CI/CD pipeline. Right. So we are okay. Perfect. All right. So today we need to discuss about CI/CD pipeline. I mean, how to build a CI/CD pipeline for the particular application, right? Okay. So that CI/CD pipeline, it has four category, which is CI and CD pipeline. See, if you go for Jenkins platform, the slight differ will be there. I mean, when you're trying to build CI/CD pipeline, okay, so manually we have to build. If you go for declarative or scripted pipelines, anything, if you go manually, we need to build. But when you go for Azure pipeline, they do have the automation. So they do have two pipeline, one which is build pipeline and release pipeline. Okay, so in release pipeline itself, we can write it down the deployment automation script over there. If you do have multiple pieces of your application, for all the services of your applications, we can do the automation using by release pipeline. So that's slight differ. Okay. Apart from that, most of the functions will be similar when you go for Jenkins or Azure or AWS code pipeline. Okay, so let's try to understand what is mean by pipeline. So it has four category, one which is for SEM. Okay, and another one which is, yes. So here I would say timer, and here which is pipeline, right? And the fourth one, webhook. So we do have four categories when you're trying to build the pipeline. Okay, so let's consider the use case of each components. That's quite important. So where can we schedule or where can we do the automation, right? So that's the slide differ will be there. So here, when you go for pole SEM, okay, ideally we just post all the code into GitHub, right? So here we do have GitHub. So GitHub and GitLab, we do have two categories. Okay, when you go for GitHub, Git, we do have two categories, one which is GitHub and another one, GitLab. Okay, so GitHub is nothing but it is cloud. What are the codes when you're pushing? It's gonna be managing the space which it is consuming on top of your cloud, right? But GitLab is nothing but, see, some confidential application. Let's consider we do have financial application or any government application, right? So Infosys, they are managing their Aadhaar card, right? So Infosys, again, they are managing the PAN card. So these all should be confidential. We should not push into the cloud, right? So in this category, we can buy your own license from the Microsoft for GitLab. So you can buy the license from the Microsoft, and at your environment itself, you can build your, repository server. So that we can call it as GitLab. So which is gonna be managing by us. So we are going to managing the repository. What are the codes when I'm pushing? It's gonna be pushing into the GitLab itself. But again, when you go for GitHub, as I stated, those code which is managed by Cloud Seller, the Microsoft, the GitHub, it is a Microsoft product. Okay, so when I'm pushing the code, it's gonna be, managed by the Microsoft team. So again, dependency of that. So that's a reason. Based on your application, we are preferring the repository. So if you go for SVN, subversion control, we don't have uh, option to build the repository at your environments. There is no option. We can push the code into SVN, but again, we don't have local repo there. We do have remote repo. So what are the necessary or unnecessary files? It's gonna be consuming the cloud space, which is in SVN, subversion control, right? So ideally, we are dumping our code into some place, right? So I can push into GitHub or GitLab. Okay, so either would be sufficient. But again, here we just pushed our code into the repository. Now, Jenkins responsibility has to pull the code and push into the testing team, or top of the Jenkins machine itself, we used to install the Selenium, right? Selenium is a testing tool. Veracode is a vulnerability tool, right? So to check the strength of your code and build tool. So all this tool we can deploy on top of one platform itself. I mean, we just created that Jenkins machine, right? So on top of this compute itself, I can able to deploy 3 or 4 tools. Again, depends on your hardware utilization. Okay, so and now the Jenkins, it's a platform. Top of that, I can install Selenium for do the testing. So at this point, we are not going to understand the testing tool, but in real time, I'm talking, right? So in on top of the integration tool itself, we can install the testing tool. So the integration tool responsibility, has to pull the code from the repository and push into, the testing tool. So this category, the Jenkins, it's gonna be, pulling. How does it is pulling? Let's see that. So here, at this point, we just pushed all the code into GitHub, right? So here we do have GitHub. So the entire code we just pushed into the GitHub, right? So this code manually I can pull manually, I can go to that Jenkins console and I could able to, pull the code from the GitHub. But we are talking about CI, I mean, continuous integration. So we don't want to do manual jobs over here, right? So let's consider I do have 3 application. For 3 application, each application I do have multiple pieces. Front end I do have pieces, back end I do have pieces, or let's consider it's a full stack application, right? So multiple pieces are there. For each pieces, if I want to clone, it's gonna be taking the time, and manually we need to track, right? So you just think about your engineer's time. Right. So that's the reason we are preferring to go for automation. So how can we do the automation between repository and your integration tool? So here, what is the use case of Policium? See, the Policium always, it's gonna be monitoring your GitHub. Okay, so once the developer, if he did any changes or if he pushed the code into GitHub, immediately the Policium will pull the code and put into Jenkins server. So that's a responsibility, the Policium it does. So I can schedule the cron job over here. I would say that, at 6 p.m. I mean, 18 is a 24, right? It is UTC. So 6 p.m. I just want to pull the code. So at the particular time, the Policium, it's gonna be always, it is monitoring the repository, but at the particular time, immediately it will pull all the changes or what are the new files which is available on your GitHub. Immediately it will pull and put into the GitHub. So that's a responsibility Policium it does, right? Again, so for for one application we do have multiple jobs. If I go with the Maven, right, so Maven, it has own structure. We do have 6 jobs will be there. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, so let me open that. Yeah, so here you can see that Maven, it does multiple jobs. These are the standard. Okay, we should not skip any jobs over here. Um, yes, so here you can see here Maven structure. I'm sorry. So yeah, so this is the one. So it is Maven structure job. We should not skip any jobs over here. Each job, it does, own responsibility. So now, see the Policium, what it will do, it will pull the code and put into the, it will push into the timer. So the timer, what it will do, it will trigger the first job. The first job, if it is completed, it will trigger to second job. If it is done, it will trigger to third, fourth, five, six. Then your output will be there. The deployment will be there. So, yeah, so here you can see that when you go for, so when you go for timer, we do have multiple jobs. For each jobs, we need to make the automation, right? So here we do have multiple jobs. Let's consider. Okay, this is very important. If you are not able to understand, please do let me know. So when you go for the deployment, definitely we need to understand the CI/CD pipeline. If you're not able to understand, then deployment process, it's quite difficult to understand. Okay, so yes, the timer pushing the code into, Policium pushing the code into timer. The timer, it's gonna be making the relationship between all the jobs. So the timer, it's going to be triggering the first job. Job one, it's going to get triggered, right? So job one, if it is done, then job two has to trigger. So how can we make the relationship between all the jobs? So we do have the components which is upstream and downstream. Okay, we do have upstream and downstream. What is mean by upstream and downstream? Upstream is nothing but follower. Okay, upstream is nothing but follower, and downstream is nothing but next job. Right. So here I can say we don't have upstream for job one. Why? In the sense, so instead of follower, I would say previous job. Okay, and next job. So that is upstream and downstream. Now, the job one, it does not have the previous job. So who is going to trigger? Timer is going to trigger. I can schedule the time, let's say the interval time, which is 5 hours. So every 5 hours, it has to, we need to make one build. So in this case, the particular timer is going to trigger, that is the interval time. It's going to be triggering the first job. So once the first job, if it is triggered, right? So then the next job has to trigger. So here I can write it down the value. My upstream is job one. My downstream is, downstream, I would say, which is job three. Makes sense for job two. So this is job one. It is job two. And it is job three. And it is job four. Makes sense? So now you can see the first job, the timer, it's going to be triggering the first job. First job, if it is done, I can write it down the value over here. I don't have the value for upstream, but I do have the value for downstream. Once the job on, it is completed, then it has to trigger job two. That is the downstream value. Okay, so again, it's gonna be checking the next job. So upstream is job two. It will start. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Here it should be job one. So now the upstream, it's gonna be checking once the job one, if it is done, job two has to trigger. Job two, if it is triggered, job three has to build. So anybody, could you please tell me what is the upstream for job three? Upstream for job three?
Job two.
Fantastic. And downstream?
Job 4.
So that is the what we can make the relationship between all the jobs. So here, upstream,
Job 5.
no, upstream.
Job
3.
Perfect. So downstream.
Job 5.
Yes, if it is job 5, we can, or else it will put into queue state. I mean, it will wait for 5 hours. See, the 5 hours is interval time for whole life cycle, not between the job. So it is the interval time for whole life cycle. So once if it is all the jobs, if it is completed, it will wait for 5 hours. Then again, it will do rollback from the job one. Okay, so that's the use case which we are using for timer. Any questions? So again, let me repeat, Polysim, it is monitoring the repository. If you scheduled at the particular time, it's going to be pulling the code from the repository. I mean, it's not pulling the existing code. It will pull the new codes, and Polysim will push into timer. Timer will start to trigger when it is, I mean, when it's pulled that new code, right, or new changes, the timer will start to get up and with your existing code. Then your build will get happen again at the scheduled time. Make sense? Any questions on this? Any questions? Perfect. Okay. Now, what is the use case of pipeline? Let's consider we do have multiple application. Okay, so here I do have ABC application. For ABC, I do have a pipeline, and for I do have BCD application. For BCD applications, again, we do have pipeline. A DEF application, again, we do have pipeline. So three applications are running. For each applications, it does unique pipeline. So for each pipeline, do we need to create a different Jenkins server? No, all the application pipeline, it's going to be trigger on, I mean, one topology. If you do have slave and master concept, so it's going to be, triggering on one topology itself, right? So now Vishal want to, he want to track ABC application. He should not see the BCD application, right? And Vinay, he want to track, BCD application, right? Nihashi want to trigger, DEF application. So I do have different engineers over here. And for each DevOps engineer has to track the respective pipeline. How can we filter? Let's consider all the application which is basically built using by Java. So for all the pipeline, it's gonna be using Maven. How can we filter that? So in this case, using by this pipeline, I could able to filter. Okay, so these are the jobs belongs to ABC pipeline, these are the jobs belongs to BCD pipeline, and these are the jobs I would say belongs to DEF. So Nihashi can track only DEF pipeline, and Vinay, he can track only BCD pipeline. So that's pretty much important to filtering the application pipelines using by pipeline. So the pipeline, it has 4 types of code. Okay, it does 4 types of card. One which is a green card, and another which is a red card, and the third one which is I would say blue card, and fourth one which is yellow card. So we do have 4 cards are available under the pipeline. So if let's consider, see, this pipeline is running. Okay, so this pipeline is running, all this pipeline which is running now. See here, it is popping blue card, yellow card, green card. So for each colors, it does a responsibility. So again, you just come back here. The first job, if it is popping green card, or any job, if it is popping green card, the job build is succeeded. build is succeeded. Okay, if it is popping a red card, which is not succeeded, right? And if it is popping blue card, waiting for upstream. I mean, previous job it is popping, I'm sorry, building. So the current job which is waiting for upstream. Okay, yellow card is nothing but initializing. The current job it is initializing for build. Make sense? Got it? So the four cards are
These are the
important.
color code for the stages of job, right?
Yes, perfect, perfect. That's correct. So ideally, if it is popping, see, I'm not sure. Have you seen any pipeline? So you can see in the real time, a big dashboard will be there. Multiple pipelines will be running. Okay, so here the monitoring team or the DevOps engineer, if they want to monitor all the pipeline, we do have the dedicated dashboard we can create. Okay, so in that dashboard, I can see which pipeline is building, which in the pipeline, which job it is getting succeeded or unsucceeded. We can track. If it is popping unsucceeded, immediately the administrator, I mean the respective engineer will get the notification and he can go back and do the changes or resolve the bugs, come back, put back into the repository. Policy it's keep on monitoring. It is pulling your changes code, put into the pipeline. Again, the pipeline is triggering, your job is succeeded. So it's going to be deployed on your QA. Make sense? Got it? Do I need to repeat?
Yes, Karthik.
Okay. See, ideally, as I so as I told you, sorry. Sorry. So here see, we do have multiple applications, right? For all the application, we can create one monitoring dashboard. In this dashboard, for ABC, we do have pipeline, BCT, and DEF. So here, it is popping the cards. Okay, so let's consider for each job, we do have the cards. So third card, it is popping red color. So if it is popping red color, this job is, the build is failed. So this build, if it is failed, the next job, I mean, will not get trigger. It will put into queue state until resolving the issue. The next job will not get trigger. Okay, so immediately it will send the notification to the DevOps team, engineer team. Okay, so they have to come back and look the RCA. I mean, they need to resolve the bugs. Once if they resolve the bugs, they will push back into GitHub. So the Polisium pulling the what you pushed, I mean, what you have done, the changes, it is going to push again. It will, push into the, sorry, pull and push into the timer. The timer, it's going to triggering again the same pipeline. So using by the relationship we made, using by these components, we made a relationship between all the jobs, right? So the timer, it's gonna be triggering first job. First job card is popping red, green color. Second job card is popping green. Third, green. Fourth, green. So everything, if it is green, it will go and deployed into this QA. Make sense? Or Dave? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
So
once the
Karthik,
job is red color and it is resolved, so all the jobs will be again built.
Yes. So among this job, in mid of any one job failed, the next job will not get triggered until resolving that particular jobs. It will put into the queue state. So the engineers go back and look into that. After resolved, it's gonna be triggering. Got it? Anand?
So if job 3 is failed and we resolve the issue, then job 1, 2 will again get built and then job.
Yes, because you have resolved, right? So that the resolve, I mean, after resolved, the Polisium has to pull the changes code, right? And it has to push into that first job. Directly, it cannot able to push into third job, right?
Okay.
That is a sequence. That is what I stated, Maven, it has the sequence, you can see. So directly, it will not bypass the first and second job, which is succeeded. No. So all
It
the
will
jobs,
build again.
yes, because the new changes has to get append.
Okay.
Got it, Anand?
Yes.
Perfect.
Karthik,
Yes.
this entire process happens in integration tool.
Yes. So integration, that's correct. So integration tool, it is a platform. So this CI/CD pipeline, how can we build in the sense? See, I mean, depends on your build tool. So this option will be default on Jenkins.
Yeah.
So how can we make the relationship between all the jobs using by your build tool? If I'm using Java in the sense Maven. So that's what I was, I'm showing this picture.
That means we have to integrate between the different tools and work on it.
Yes, but see, that is what, so this jobs sequence only will get changed based on the build tool, but rest of I showed you, right, CI/CD components, it will be centralized for all the build tool.
That means this process is same.
Yeah,
This process is same for everything. Like
yes,
whatever the build tool differs for the different applications, this will remain same.
perfect, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Others, do you have any questions? Any questions? Savita, do you have any questions? Sveta, Vishal?
No, Karthik.
Okay. Vishal, Rohit is here. Rohit, are you there?
No, Rohit is not there.
Okay, ask him to contact me.
Okay.
All right. Because he's having some questions, he pinged me. I need to reserve. I need to give answer for his question. Perfect. Others, do you have any questions? Indrani, any questions? Okay. Okay. All right. So, so we understood the pipeline components, right? So webhook, I hope you might heard, who are having experience into this development, definitely you might be aware of. See, webhook is nothing but, I can say the difference between Polisium and webhook. Polisium at the particular time, it will pull the changes code from the GitHub. Okay, but webhook, once if you push to any code, immediately it will trigger. It will not wait for any particular, I mean, we cannot able to schedule the time. If you go for webhook, webhook, we can configure on your GitHub itself. I'll show you here. Yes, so here you can see, you just go to GitHub. I can choose, sorry, any repository. Here you can configure, okay. Yes, so these are your repository. Okay, so in this repository, we do have, okay, let me choose this repository. Okay, so here we do have the setting option. All right, see you, yeah, webhook. So webhook, it is nothing but frequently if you want to trigger the changes code from the GitHub to the Jenkins, we can see here already I just integrated one Jenkins URL. If I want to edit and oops, my username is this, incorrect password. password which I given. This is the one. Oops. It's a password which I. Okay. Perfect. So now I can do the changes over here. See what are the what are the changes I have done with my repository. Frequently, it's gonna be pulling the changes and put into the Jenkins platform itself. So here I can go and edit, and I can give that the URL of Jenkins, and it's gonna be triggered. But at this point, I need to install the plugin. That plugin I don't have. By default, it is not available. Even I don't have. But that's a major difference when you go for webhook. So what are the changes if you're doing? Frequently, it's gonna be pulling, and it will put into the timer. Okay. So let's try to build this CI/CD pipeline. Ideally, we are using Policium as per my experience, but in such cases, they are preferring webhook as well. Okay, let's try to understand one by one. All right. Okay, so let's choose some Java application. I'm just going to prefer this application. Okay, so this is the Java application. All right. When you go for Java application, again, we need to understand, the Maven structure. So the Maven structure, you just go to apache.maven.com. Okay, just go to this website. Okay, Maven.apache. Okay, so you just go to this website. Okay, you can try to understand, the use case of Maven. Okay, just spend some time and try to understand the plugins and okay, what is this plugin? Where should I use? Fine. You just try to understand. For I just prepared some bullet points over here for Maven. I can open that Excel sheet. See here. Yeah. So okay, perfect. So now you can see here. So the Maven, it has yeah, 6 jobs: compile, code review, unit test, metric check, package, deploy. Okay, so I'm just going to copy the code. Oops. Yeah. So just going to copy the code. See, any build, any applications, if you want to build, pom.xml is dependency, project, object, model. Without having pom.xml, your build will not get happen. So pom.xml, it is the dependency file for build tool. If I'm using Java, pom.xml has to be there. You can see pom.xml has to be there. If you're using .NET, again, pom.xml has to be there. Okay, so now you can see that. Oops. You can see, oh shit. I'm just copying the code. Okay, so I'm just copying the code. Let me open Visual Studio. Okay, so here pom.xm. Yep. So I'm just pasting over here. Okay, so now you can see compile. Even you can see your picture also. First one is compile. In this code also, we need a compile. I'm just going to search. You can see compile, right? Okay, yeah, see here. So they are having compile the syntax over here. The next one, which is code review. Code review is nothing but PMD, programmer mistake detector. Okay, so let me search. These all are the default. I can say PMD. You can see PMD syntax. And you can see third one, unit test. So test. test. You can see test syntax.
Karthik, could you please show me the PMD again?
Yeah. So here you can see PMD, programmer mistake detector. You can see. So these all are PMD. I mean, I will explain what is the use case of PMD. But you can see the pom.xml, all the dependency, I mean, all the relevant of components which it is here. So these are the dependency. When, when the code review, if it is triggering, it will go and check the syntax.
This one is a completed project and which undergoes the QC.
Yes.
And ready to what? Ready to go into the repository. Is it?
Yes. Yes. That's correct. Okay, so on third job, you can see metric check. Metric check is nothing but Kobachura. So you can see the Kobachura syntax here. It is here. And the package is very important, your artifact. So package, yes, artifact package will be there. And last one is deploy. Deploy is nothing but different. Okay, it's a plugin concept. So now you can see for 5 jobs, if does want to build, all the job syntax has to be in the inside of the pom.xml. Okay, ideally the developer will give it to you when they are pushing the code. Pom.xml will be there. So I need to install the plugin over here, which is Java. If I'm going to use Java, you need to install Java extension over here. Once if I install the Java extension, by default, it's gonna be providing that pom.xml file. Okay, so pom.xml file, it will create. So then accordingly, I mean, based on our application, you can do the changes of, you can insert your variables over there. I will show you here. So in this pom.xml, perfect. So install it successfully installed. Fine, great. It is pom.exe. Do you want to install dependency analysis? Or is it making sense? Stay informed dependency in pom.xml. Yes, makes sense. So while I'm installing Java application, by default, it's gonna be pulling the dependency. Pom.xml, it is mandatory. Got it? Is it making sense, guys? Okay, so all right, so now that's what the developer no need to write it down the script from the scratch. Not required. So here I need to set it up all the language, all the stuffs. I just go to skip at this point in time. Can I need to install this package. Okay, JDK file I need to install, not required. So yes, what I was pom.xml, welcome. Okay, see here. So the pom.xml, it is the dependency already stated. So this code, the developer no need to write it down from the scratch, not required. So by once if they install the plugin, they need to install the JDK setup. The file extension they need to install. Once if they have installed, while creating the project, by default pom.xml will be there. Okay, so that is what I was telling. So now for each job use case, let's try to understand. So the compile job responsibility has to pull the code from your repo. You can see compile job responsibility has to pull the code from your repo. Once it is pulled, it will push into the code review. Code review responsibility has to analyze the code, which is PMD, programmer mistake detector. Is there any syntax error? Or is there any, how many classes they created, each classes, what is the strength, not strength, I'm sorry. It's going to be understand any special character or any indentation, right? So it's going to be understanding. So unit test, it is mandatory. I hope you might have you done in real time. We may hear this kind of words, right? So smoke test, unit test, right? So unit test is, it's nothing but it is going to understand the strength of your code. I mean, I do have a 405 lines over there. So out of these 400 lines, how many parameter which is correct and what is the strength of your entire project, you could understand. Metric check, it's nothing but Kobatura plugin we do have. Okay, so this metric check, it's gonna be checking the strength of each module. It is whole project, it is each module. And package is very important. Okay, so package, it's nothing but all the code. I mean, all the 400 lines, it's gonna be put into one extension. It might be .var, .char, or .yar, right? So all the code it will put into this extension, into one extension. Then the deploy will pull the extension and deploy it into this your application server or web server. It's gonna be deployed. So that is the sequence. But for each job, it has own plugin. I will show you that. You can see. So see, this is a job name, and we need to set it up goal. Could you remember that when I was explaining the Jenkins, job architecture, I was telling that goal is very important, and based on the goal, you need to install the plugin, and your output file will be there. For each job, it's gonna be creating the unique workspace. What are the output files which it is building, right? So all the building output file, it will put at the particular workspace, right? Okay, so now you can see if I'm choosing compile, I need to set it up the goal, which is compile. Code review, I need to set it up the goal, which is PMT. Unit test, metric check, Kobatura. Package, goal is package. Deploy is package. So the plugin is very important. It is not PMT. Okay, so the plugins are very important. When you go for compile, there is no plugin, not applicable. But when you go for PMT, we need to install PMT plugin. Unit test, you need to install JUnit plugin. And for metric check, Kobatura. And for package, package not required. Yes, that's correct. And for deploy, you need to install deploy to container plugin. So once if you install the plugin, your output file will be like this. If if I use a compile job, the output file, the output format will be pom.xml. Okay, and code review, the output file, which is target pmd.xml. And
this Karthik, this sheet.
Yeah, I will share. It is mandatory sheet. Okay, I will share because these are interview questions as well. Could you please tell me the plugin for Kobatura? Could you please tell me the plugin for JUnit? Or what is the use case of the JUnit? What is the output file? So when I'm writing the script, right, you have to remember all the space. All the path. So when I'm writing the release pipeline script, right? So during the time, I should know where should I should know the source file. The source file, which is nothing but your CI/CD output file. So there I need to trigger. Okay, so I will share across to everyone. Okay, and Kobatura target coverage .xml and here extension and here contestable. So using by these components, we are going to build. Okay, using by these components, we are going to build. All right. Perfect. So any questions on this? Any questions?
Karthik, this compile file would be a POM file, right?
Could you please repeat?
No, compile's output is POM file. According to the this one.
Yes.
Whenever you're writing a code, is it can we write in any language so we get the POM output, or how?
No, that is the pom.xml. It is the dependency. Okay, so that is what I showed you. Inside of the pom.xml, these are the syntax are available, right?
Yes.
So the code review will go and check this pom.xml. Is there any syntax for code review? It will redirect to your actual code. So you can see in the repository, SRC folder will be there. I will show you that. Under the SRC, you have actual code. Go back here. Yeah. So here you can see this is your repository, right? So here you can see the pom.xml will redirect the path into, see here they're using the front end is PHP, build properties. Okay, let's build the properties. So here, yeah, see here, I'm sorry, here it is the SRC folder is there. Okay, so instead of SRC, you do have, I mean, the main is very important. Here only we do have actual PMD, you can see. So here you can see your actual application code. So this file, I mean, you can see here, so when build it's happening, the build it will go and check pom.xml. Pom.xml will redirect to your, I mean, your SRC folder. Instead of SRC folder, it will redirect to main or how many folder, I mean, how many subfolder which is there, it will redirect. So build tool is going to understand pom.pom. Pom.dot only it's fetching the data. Make sense?
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay, so accordingly, the output is happening. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Great. Others, do you have any questions? Perfect. So let me log in into the server. So this Jenkins status. Perfect. So now it is running. Okay. Let me try to fetch the server dashboard. Okay. Page reads report number. Okay. So the username which is admin and password admin. Perfect. So now you can see we do have that repository, right? So I just go back to this repository. So this is your front-end application. Your front-end dashboard will looks like this. Okay. If I'm pinging that application, it's gonna be popping this dashboard. Okay, in this application, we don't have a backend. I mean, we cannot able to sync up with the database. Fine, no worries. I can take, you know, I can able to configure the DB as well. 1 second, putting in Eclipse. Okay, yes. Plugins. Okay, just start the project and tap to, okay. All right. So we need to install Maven over here first. Okay, you just go back to manage Jenkins. And yes, global tool configuration. Before that, I just want to cross verify that IP. That's very important, right? Because we are having dynamic IP at this point. We don't have elastic IP in AWS. What's happening? Google Maps. Number 8080. Perfect. So go back to manage Jenkins and here just try to install. Perfect. Yes, here IP is changed. I need to change this or else it will keep on through the error. 3.0.206.55. If I purchase elastic IP, it will be static. Correct. We discussed in AWS. Okay, so now I just say it and go back to manage Jenkins. So here, perfect. So now which version we have installed? 1 second. Accordingly, need to install. Okay. Second, I need to install that Maven because I just want to cross verify what are the versions is available. Okay. Maven version. Okay. Jenkins depends on the following third-party libraries. JSON library, we just have this. Spring Boot is there. One second, java.q. It is there, it would be sufficient to build a var file, but in your code also we need to check the artifact. So the artifact, it should be one. Okay, perfect. So perfect. So we can go back to the dashboard. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to install the Maven. Let me go back to manage Jenkins. Here, global tool configuration. So any tools, if you want to install, you can directly go into this dashboard. What I was checking in the sense, I was checking the binaries. Okay, so by default, all the binaries are there. I just want to understand. See your repository. Okay. See what are the tools which you want to install. It's going to be popping over here. Here, Maven tool, it is there. But you can see the Jenkins want to pull the code from the GitHub, right? But there is no Git executable path. Okay, so first we need to give executable path. Go back to the server. I just want to install Git package over here. Yum install Git. Okay, or else it will keep on throw the error. First, we need to give the executable path location for Git. So I can give the executable. So where is, yes. So this is our executable path, correct? User bin git. In this location, we do have the zipped file. I can copy this. I can give it over here. Or is the okay? So then it will. Let's see. See, now it is connecting. If I do any different path also, it will throw the error. Perfect. So now it is communicating. Yeah. So you can see. All right. So I'm just making the setup of build. So it is going to pull the code. Let it be. And the Gradle also is a powerful build tool. And is for .NET C Maven. Okay. So here I can choose the version. So name I can give Java application or Java build tool. Okay, Java build or build any name application name we can give, which is ABC Okay, so that is a build tool name and version 3.8. That is a latest version, so I can choose latest version. Now let me apply, save. All right, see, we have done the GitHub executable file location map and as well. So let's try to understand this CI/CD pipeline flow. Oh, time is 8. Fine. So we'll wind up over here. So the next session will be on Monday. We are going to understand how to build the CI/CD pipeline. Okay. So tomorrow, if I get the time today evening, I'll ping you. Okay. If I do have the time tomorrow, I can will connect back. Probably tomorrow. Let's see. I'm not sure. I can't access any files in the tool folder in the track. See, Shravan, I think so. It is not from my side, Shravan. See, what about others? Are able to access the drive?
Yes, correct.
I have given your URL as well, Shravan. I'm not sure. Again,
I don't know, Karthik. I've tried everything, like even in mobile, and I changed the system also.
Tell me your email address, Shravan.
Saravanan dot.
Saravanan dot.
That is the one. The first.
It is there. You can see. This is the one, right?
Yeah.
See, your URL already it is there. When your email address it is there. Could you please check right now? Okay, so tomorrow, probably today evening, I'll ping you guys. Tomorrow, if I get the time, I can book the slot and we'll understand.
Karthik, can you also share the delivery pipeline image?
Excel sheet, right?
Image.
This one, right?
Yes.
Okay, I will do that.
I don't know, Karthik. Still, I'm saying folder, but I'll just try to reset everything.
No, in front of you only, I have given access. Apart from that, there is no any troubleshoot over there. I don't know why it's happening for you. Let me. I cannot able to paste. Okay, I will do that. I'll do that. Excel sheet and that picture also. Let me share. All right. Any questions? Cool then. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you all.